Hello students, today we are going to start our first chapter of physics, which is reflection of the light. So in this chapter we will read about the reflection. So in this chapter we will cover various topics here, the which is what is light. Second one is nature of the light. Third one is reflection of the light, and the fourth one is reflection. Whereas the fifth one is laws of reflection of light. Sixth is regular reflection and diffuse reflection, and the fifth one is object and image. Second one is seventh one is types of image. So these are the topics which we are going to cover in a single lecture. So let's get started with the video. The first topics of ours is about the light. So what is light? Light is the form of energy which enables us to see the object. Means what here? Light is what? Form of energy. It means what is energy here? Capacity of doing work is called as energy. So light is also a form of energy which help us to see the object, which help us as how we can tell that the light help us to see the object. How we can tell it? As light. Suppose in a room there is no light. The bulb is being off. So you go with a torch and you want to see the object. What you will gonna see? When you put the light ray on the object, then from this object the light ray is going to be reflected in toward your eyes, which leads to the formation of image on your eyes. So how we can be able to see this object? This is with the help of this light. If there is no light, what will going to be happened? Then there then we cannot be able to see the object. So light. So what are the example of light? Example we can give: bulb, torch, candle, stars. These are the example of light. So about this we have read. So the next topic which we are going to cover here is about the differences or the division of the object on the basis of light. On the basis of light, the objects are divided. The objects are divided into two types. Into two types. It means there is a basis which we have taken is about the light, and on this basis the object is divided into two types. So what are those types? The first one is luminous object. Second one is non-luminous object. So what do you understood about this word luminous? It means something which is visible, which have their own light. So the meaning of luminous object is that the object which have their own light. So what are the meaning of luminous object? The object luminous object, the object which have their own light. The object which have their own light. So what are the example of this luminous object? The example of luminous object is, you can tell, bulb, candle, and you can tell as moon, moon. These are the example of luminous object. So now we come on the next object, which is non-luminous object. What is non-luminous object? The object, the object which do not have their own light, which do not have their own light. So what do you understand about this non-luminous object? Means the object which do not have their own light, we cannot be able to see these objects without any luminous object. About this sentence I will talk or discuss further. So first understand about the example of non-luminous object. Example which we are taking here is anything which doesn't have their own light, like you can take book, then lamp, then you can take keyboard, which they doesn't have their own light. So here you can take the example, this book. How can you tell that is the book is a luminous object or non-luminous object? You, yeah, this is non-luminous because a book doesn't have their own light, and this bulb have their own light, so it is luminous object. The question will come in your mind that here, if the non-luminous object does not have their own light, then how can we be able to see these objects? So this, the answer of this question is here, I'm writing in the note, is the non-luminous object, the non-luminous object can be seen by the help of luminous object. It means, how can we able to see the non-luminous object? As I'm taking example here, this book doesn't have their own light, then how can we able to read book? This is because of when there is a light which is glowing in a room, then we can be able to read the book. So it means that the luminous object help us to see the non-luminous object. This bulb help us to read the book, so we can tell the luminous object can be seen with the help of luminous object. So let's begin with another topic about the light, is nature of the light. What do you understand about the nature? Nature means characteristic properties of the light. So on the basis of two theory, the nature of the light has been described. There are two theories on the basis on the basis of which so there are two theories on the basis of which the light is being described. What are those theory? The first theory is wave theory. What is our first theory? Wave theory. So, in the wave theory, it is being told that the light is consist of wave. Light consists of waves. It means consist of wave. And which type of wave is electromagnetic wave? Magnetic waves. So, what is this electromagnetic waves? About this, we are discussing a very few minutes here. So, the electromagnetic waves are those waves in which the magnetic field and the electric field are perpendicular to each other. The magnetic field the, and the electric field are perpendicular to each other. About this wave, we will discuss in further classes. So, only here I had given you the brief knowledge about the electromagnetic wave, which and this wave cannot be seen by our naked eyes. This can only be seen by the help of powerful microscopes. So, light consists of electromagnetic waves and which do not require any medium required any medium to propagate. So, what do you understand about the meaning of the here propagate? Propagate means to travel. So, the light consists of electromagnetic waves which do not require any medium to propagate. So, for traveling of the light, there is no any requirement of medium. So, what is the meaning of medium here? Medium means generally solid, liquid, the gas. These are the medium. So, the light, according to this theory, light does not require any medium. It will travel in vacuum. It doesn't require medium. And about the light is the light travels at very high speed. Yeah, about light, this is the property of the light is a light the light a light travels at very high speed. Second one is light travels in a in a straight line. Yeah, these two are also the properties of light. Yeah, here these two are also the properties of light, and this is about the wave theory. So, what do you understand about the wave theory? That the wave theory in wave theory, the light consists of electromagnetic waves which do not require any medium to propagate. So, the second theory is about what? The particle theory. So, you can understand about this particle theory that A particle theory is generally means the light which consists of particles. Yeah, you can understand about this. That the light. So our topic is what? Particle theory. Particle theory. So the light consists of particles. It means light is made up of particles, and doesn't require it requires the medium to propagate. It requires the medium to propagate. It means for traveling the light, it required a medium. It means it either be solid, liquid, or gas. Through this medium, a light can propagate. So, what is the particles through which the light consists and it moves through that? So the particle is, you can tell the particle, yeah, it is photon. This is the name of particle through which the light consists and it propagate in medium, in any medium. So this about the particle theory. So the next topic is about which we are going to cover here is about the nature of the light. So yeah, but the nature of the light, which we have covered. So the next topic is reflection of the light. So in reflection of the light, what do you understand about reflection? Reflection basically means the process of sending back of light ray which falls when it falls on a surface. Yeah, what do you understand about the reflection? The process of sending back of light rays when it falls when it falls on the surface. Yeah, it is generally a process in which the light rays which comes on a surface, this light ray comes on a surface, will send back. So this is called as reflection. So here we are talking about the reflection of the light. It means the light ray about this light ray is coming from here. This is about the reflection of the light. So the next topic which we are going to cover is laws of reflection of the light. So what do you understand about the law? So laws of reflection of light. There are basically two laws of reflection of light. Before starting the laws of reflection of the light, we are going to cover some topics which will be useful for us for understanding these laws of reflection of light. So the first topic is incidence ray. Second one is reflected ray. Third one is normal. Fourth one is angle of incidence. For fifth one is angle of reflection. So these are the topic which we have to read before starting this laws of reflection of light. So here about incidence ray. Incidence ray means the ray the ray of light which falls on the surface. So what is the meaning of incidence ray? Means the ray of light, the this ray of light which falls on the surface is called as incidence ray. And what is refracted ray? The ray which goes back after reflecting from the surface. The ray which goes back after reflecting from the surface, it is called as reflected ray. The third is normal. The ray which is normal to the surface, the ray which is normal to the surface is called as or you can tell that it is perpendicular to the surface is called as normal. The fourth one is angle of incidence. So the angle which is formed between this normal and incidence ray is called as angle of incidence. The angle which is formed between normal and incidence ray is called as angle of incidence. And what is angle of reflection? The angle which is formed between this normal and reflected ray is called as angle of reflection. So as we have read these, so further we are going to discuss this laws of reflection of light. Laws of reflection of light. The first law of reflection of light is that the incidence ray, the normal and the reflected ray lies on the same plane. So what is our first law? The incidence ray, normal and reflected ray lies on the same plane. So the second one is the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection are equal. This angle of incidence, which is the angle formed between normal and incidence ray, is equal to the angle formed between normal and reflected ray. These two are equal. The angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So our topic of laws of reflection of light is completed. So the next topic which we are going to cover is about the regular reflection and the diffuse reflection. What do you understand about the meaning of regular? Means something which is regular, continuous. So regular reflection means the ray of light which is parallel to the surface will reflect it back in one direction. Means here you can see here that the ray of light, this is the ray of light which is parallel to the surface. And what this ray of light is called as incidence ray. This ray of light which is parallel to the surface is reflected back. This ray of light is reflected back in one direction, which is also parallel. The reflected ray is also parallel. What this ray is called as? Reflected ray, and this is called as incidence ray. So these both the rays are equal, and the surface which is required in the regular reflection will be plane, smooth surface, not rough. So here I'm writing the definition of regular reflection. It means the light ray, the incidence light rays, the incidence parallel light rays falls on the surface is reflected back, is reflected back along one direction. This is about regular reflection. What is regular reflection? The ray of light, which is the ray of light, the incidence parallel light rays falls on the surface is reflected back along one direction. So, and the next one is irregular reflection. Meaning of this irregular reflection is just opposite to the regular reflection, which is the ray of light. The parallel incidence light rays falls on the surface and reflected back in different direction. Means the parallel incidence light falls on the surface. On the surface, this is our surface. On the surface and reflected back. This light ray reflected back, but in different direction. Yeah, you can see here easily that this light ray which comes here parallelly, this light ray reflected in this direction, and this one reflected in this, and this one reflected in this direction. So you can you can here uh, you will imagine here, or you will think that yeah, you are yeah, that the light rays are not in one direction, these are in different direction. This is about the irregular reflection. Yeah, so the requirement in the regular reflection is what? Surface should be plane, and this irregular in this and so sorry, in regular reflection the surface should be the surface should be rough, and here in the regular reflection surface should be plane. So this all is about the regular reflection and irregular reflection. Yeah, here you will think that how this diffuse can be irregular. So the other meaning of this diffuse reflection is irregular. So let's proceed with our next topic, which is image and the object. So what is object? Object is what? A thing which reflect the light rays. It is anything which reflects the light rays, which reflects the light rays. Anything which reflects the light rays. Here you can see this is a ball, and if we put a light rays on the surface, this will reflect back. So we can tell that this is what a object. We cannot tell it without seeing that it is reflecting or not. You have to see first that that object is reflecting the light ray or not, then you can tell that it is the object. And now, what is image? What do you understand about the word image? So the light rays the light rays comes from any point, and which is going to be reflected from a surface, and where the light rays is reflected, and that light rays meet at a point, that point will which is called as the formation of image. So here, this is our surface. From this point a light rays is coming. From this point a light ray is coming. From here, it is the light there. We have to consider only two light rays. Yeah, this we have to note that here, that there are many light of rays which is coming out from a source of light, but we have to consider only two of them. We have to consider only two of them. So here, the two light rays which comes from a source of light is falls on the surface and reflected back. The light ray reflected back. The place or the point where these light rays meet, this point is called as image, or we can tell there image is being formed. The light rays, so the definition is the light rays which comes from surface and reflected reflected back. The point where the reflected rays meet, called as the point where the reflected ray meet is called as image. So I hope that you have understood the definition of the image. What is the definition of image? The light rays which comes from a surface, from the source. You can tell here is comes from a, yeah, you can tell here is source, because the light ray is coming from the source. The light ray is coming from a source and reflected. Here the light ray is coming from the source and it reflected back. The point where the reflected ray meet, the point where these reflected ray meet, that point is called as the image, or there is the formation of image at that point. So I hope you all have understood about this image and object. So now we are going to read about the types of image. So what are the types of image? The first one is real image, and the second one is virtual image. Real image means the image which is going to be formed on the screen. Any image which is going to be formed on the screen. So I'm writing here the definition. The image forms on the screen. Example you can take formation of image in cinema hall. In cinema hall, you will be getting to see that the image is going to be formed on the surface, on the screen. We can touch that screen. So this is called as real image. But what is the meaning of virtual image? Virtual image generally means that something which is virtual means illusion, which is not real. So the virtual image means the image which is not forming on the screen. The image which is not forming on the screen. So the example of this virtual image you can take is formation of image when we see our face in the mirror. Seeing face in mirror is example of virtual image. You will get to know at that time when you will see your face in the image that the image which is going to be formed is inside the mirror. The image which is going to be formed is inside the mirror. This I'm talking about the virtual image. This is our object. What is this? Object. And this is what? Image. And what is this? Mirror. You will get to know that the image which is forming in the mirror is virtual, which is inside the mirror, which is illusion. So how can we tell that this light ray is real or this light ray which is forming is virtual? How can we tell these all? So how can we tell that the image which is formed is real or it is virtual? So this will also be a question. So I'm writing the question here. Question: when the real is going to be formed? Real image is going to be formed at which time, and how can we identify that which image is real and virtual? That I had told you that the image which is forming on the screen, that is called as a real image, and that image which is not forming on a screen is virtual. But here is when at which time it is going to be formed. When, yeah, so here when the light rays is coming after reflection will meet at a point it will meet at a point outside the mirror. The ray of light which is coming, which meets at a point which meet at a point which will meet at a point after reflection from a mirror. Reflection from the mirror. So what you're getting to understand from here, that you have to consider here mirror. From this mirror, the light ray is coming from here after reflection and meet at a point which is outside the mirror, then we can tell that that image which is going to be formed is real image. So the next question of ours is here, that when we can tell that the virtual image is going to be formed. When the virtual image is going to be formed. How can we tell that the image which is going to be formed here is virtual? This is just opposite of this question. Here it is told that the image or the light rays is meeting outside the mirror. The light ray is meeting outside the mirror, but in the virtual image, the light rays comes after reflection is meeting inside the mirror. The light rays, what happened? The light ray here, this is the same one of this, but here you have to only displace this word. The light ray which meet at a point after reflection from the mirror. Here you will write the light rays meet at a point inside the mirror, mirror after reflection. So we will get to understand from here what happens. The light ray meet at a point inside the mirror after reflection. So this is called as virtual image. We will tell that there is the formation of virtual image. This all is about the real image and the virtual image. So in further classes we will read about that the formation of image with the plane mirror. From the formation, what we will read in the next session is that formation of image in a plane mirror. Yeah. So here now the 2D diagram which we will make, which is one is of the object, the small object. Second one is of the extended object. The image which is going to be formed of the small object as well as extended object. This is what the formation of image of a plane mirror. And the next one which we will read about the characteristic and properties of plane mirror. Position of plane mirror. This all is about the next about the topics which we are going to cover in our next lecture. So up to this we have read the so I'm giving from here the a very very short recap of that all which we have covered yet. The first one is about what we have read is about the light. That what is light? We have read that light is what a form of energy which help us to see the object. The and next we have read about the nature of the light. What is nature of the light? In that we have read about the two theories on the basis of which we have divided the light, which and on which we have described the nature of the light. Here the first one is wave theory, and second one is particle theory. And then after that we have read about the reflection of the light. Then we have read the laws of reflection of light. Further we have discussed about here the regular reflection and diffuse reflection. Then after image and the object. Then after the types of image, up to here we have read in this class, and we have also read that the formation of the image, when we can identify the which image there is formed. So, and these all the topics which we will going to be covered in the next lecture. So up to this you have to revise all this in your home, and I hope that these all the things or the topics which I had covered here, you will be get in to memorize these all in in this particular video. You will not have to see another videos of any other youtubers. So I hope this will be helpful for you. So bye everyone.